Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be doing a complete review of the Object 122 MT, a currently rank 6 8.3 BR medium tank squadron vehicle for the Chinese Ground Forces tech tree. I'll go over everything that you need to know before deciding to pick this vehicle up or not, including its stats, how it plays, its strengths and weaknesses. I'll give it a rating in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation on if this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. As always, if you like this sort of video, please consider subscribing, and you could imagine me giving you a virtual high five. That said, let's get into the video. Now, as always, I'll place its stats here on the side of the screen. Important stats to note are its top speed, turret traverse, and reload rate. And now, for how it plays. Put simply, this is like a proto main battle tank, as it has the beginnings of a main battle tank, but is not quite there yet. It is a fairly well armored vehicle insofar as steel is concerned, has a powerful cannon, has a stabilizer, and even has ATGMs. But it also has a speed closer to that of a medium tank, or at least power to weight ratio, has no composite or ERA armor, and has a poor reload speed. When all of these factors are combined, it makes the Object 122 MT ideal for two roles, regardless of the BR of the match that you're in. These roles are that of sniper and flanker. Because your vehicle doesn't have the best armor and also has a great cannon as well as good speed, you can essentially pick your role. I would advise that you act as a sniper, typically in an up tier, of which will be common, whereas I would suggest that you can play either role in either a minor up tier or a full down tier, the latter of which is fairly uncommon, though of course you could play sniper or flanker in an up tier or down tier. It doesn't really matter because this tank will do pretty much as well in either of those. Due to the poor turret traverse and slow reload speed, brawling is largely advised against, though you can certainly partake in it as your 4 ATGMs reload and fire incredibly quickly, allowing for up to 5 fast-paced shots between your cannon and 4 ATGMs. This short burst rapid fire capability works wonders when in close quarters, as you can fire on the enemy until they die or simply can no longer fight back. Optionally, you can also use the ATGMs against helicopters, though the short range of the ATGMs, being that they are only 3 kilometers and because they have a slow speed of only 250 meters per second, will make it so that you either have to be lucky or fighting an unaware helicopter pilot to make a kill. Regardless, the sniper and flanking role suit this vehicle very well, though of course due to the speed you can also base cap, assuming that you only have to face a single enemy at a time, as again the reload and turret traverse are typically very poor. As a side note, the ATGMs are among the first things damaged on this vehicle, meaning that a simple HE shell, MG fire, autocannons, or almost anything else that might do no damage to your tank or the internal modules could end up destroying the most potent weapon that you have against most vehicles. Now, with all that said, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses. And first, for its strengths, it has an excellent cannon that can fire both Heat FS and APF SDS, both of which are extremely usable. Second, it has a good cannon zoom of up to 7 times. Third, it has a stabilizer that works at every speed that you can move at. Fourth, it has very good mobility with a good power to weight ratio and top speed of 55 kilometers per hour, at least considering its BR. Fifth, it has good frontal turret armor. While most shells will pen when hit directly, a surprising amount of shots will ricochet off of you. Now sixth, while they are not the best in the game, the 302 ATGMs that this carries are excellent at dealing with most enemies and are amazing as a follow-up shot if your main cannon does not kill the enemy in one shot. Now beyond this, it also has a laser rangefinder, and finally, it also has a roof-mounted HMG. And now for its weaknesses. First, it has a mediocre turret traverse speed without an aced crew. Now second, though it isn't expected at this BR, the Object 122 MT lacks thermals. For its third weakness, the MT lacks smoke grenades and smoke shell ammunition. For its fourth weakness, it has a poor reload speed as high as 12 seconds and as mediocre as 9.2 seconds even with a fully aced crew. For its fifth weakness, while the missiles are a great weapon to have, they are extremely easy to destroy in that if you hit anything with them, such as a fence or a tree, they will be destroyed, and they also require you to fully stop before firing them. They also have a short range of only 3 kilometers, making helicopter hits a bit trickier. Now for its sixth weakness, aside from the somewhat decent frontal hull armor, the hull of this vehicle is poorly armored. Further, the the Object 122 MT in general has no ERA or composite armor, of which are both starting to become common at this BR. Now beyond this, it has poor gun depression at only 6 degrees, and also has a mediocre reverse speed of only 7.4 kilometers per hour. For its ninth weakness, the ATGMs that this carries are very easily disabled, as nearly any damage will take them out of action. And finally, the turret and the hull of the vehicle are chock full of ammo and fuel tanks, with some ammo literally being stored in little cubbies within the fuel tanks. And now with all that said, let's get into how I score this vehicle. Now first, for armaments, I give it a 9 out of 10. While not perfect, the impressive combination of ATGMs and an excellent 120mm cannon that can fire numerous types of APF SDS, Heat FS, and HE ammunition allows for this vehicle to be uniquely devastating at and around its BR. One of the best things about the Object 122 MT is the simple fact that, despite its poor reload speed, the ATGMs are there for an excellent backup option, allowing you to destroy enemies that thought that they were in the clear. This is all combined with a great stabilizer as well. Ultimately, however, the poor reload rate is what stops this from being a higher score, but a 9 out of 10 is among the highest scores I've ever given for a tank's armament. Amongst every other squadron vehicle released thus far, the Object 122 MT may very well have the most unique and most powerful armament, and that's saying a lot. Now for survivability, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. The Object 122 MT sits at a weird spot where, in a down tier, it has perfectly good armor, especially at the front of the vehicle and doubly so on the turret. On the other hand, in those ever so common up tiers, it has mediocre armor, as APF SDS and Heat FS will totally annihilate the Object 122 MT, as it has no composite armor or ERA. As a result, and from my own experience, I've been killed a lot, but I've also had my armor save me more times than I would have thought, especially against autocannons. If a shell hits just right, especially against the turret, you'd be surprised how often it will deflect shots, as it feels like it is more common than with most other tanks without advanced armor. Either way, with the strong steel armor, lack of advanced armor, and average crew size of 4, this vehicle sits at a decent, though not great, 5.5 out of 10 for survivability. Now for mobility, I give it a 7 out of 10. While I do not feel that the mobility of the Object 122 MT is phenomenal, it can certainly move well, and reaches 30 kilometers per hour faster than most other tanks of this BR. It has a 17.3 horsepower per ton rating, which is fairly decent, and it handles the power very well, moving freely on all terrains. Ultimately though, not much can be said about the MT's mobility except that it is good, though not entirely exceptional, and will allow you to move from point to point on the map with ease. Now overall, I give it a 7.5 out of 10, though I would absolutely love to give this vehicle a much higher score because I absolutely love its ridiculous firepower. It is let down by its middling armor, though makes up for it with its better than average mobility. The Object 122 MT is a powerful vehicle and can do essentially whatever you ask of it. Now for my final recommendation. Do I recommend this vehicle? Yes, yes, and yes. The Object 122 MT is another vehicle in a strong lineup of Chinese tanks and makes a persuasive argument to start grinding the Chinese ground tech tree, if you have not done so already, if only to provide a lineup for this vehicle. Regardless, I would not outright purchase it with GE unless you invest a lot of squadron points into it beforehand to bring the GE cost down. This is simply because the Object 122 MT is not a premium vehicle and is instead a squadron vehicle that does not provide special RP and SL bonuses, meaning that you are purchasing essentially a fast pass to what is basically a tech tree vehicle in terms of how much you earn per match with it. Either way, yes, again, I do fully recommend the Object 122 MT and give it the Tankenstein seal of approval. For a tank that was seemingly randomly added to game, it sure is good. Now with all that being said, please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you own this vehicle? Do you want it? Let me know your thoughts. Either way, thanks for watching. Please, of course, like, comment, and especially subscribe if you would like more content like this. That said though, thanks all for watching, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care everyone.